As many of you may recall, on February the 5th, 2016, a horrific incident occurred at Lily Mine, Barberton, Mpumalanga. A mining container collapsed, trapping inside 3 miners, Pritin Kambule, Solomon Nyarende, and Yvonne Munisi. Today, we've got a very special guest to shed some light on this tragic incident that shook the mining community in 2016.
Harry MAZIBUKO, a man whose name has become synonymous with the pursuit of justice and accountability in the mining industry. In the wake of 2016 Lily Mine tragedy, where 3 miners, Pritin Kambule, Yvonne Munisi, and Solomon Nyarenda, lost their lives after being trapped underground, Mr. MAZIBUKO stepped forward as the voice of their families. He has since been at the forefront of the fight to uncover the truth behind this devastating incident. Today, we are privileged to have him join us to share his journey, his insights, and his unwavering commitment to seeking justice for the fallen miners and their loved ones.
Mtate Harry, welcome and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us to relate our story.
Look, this tragic event is one that is very sad and something we can never forget. One, because we lost the people we love, and 2, 8 years later, it's still not closed. Just talk to us about the event of the day. What actually happened on the day?
Yes, of course, it's a tragic event indeed, because the 5th of February 2016, to us as the employees, as the workers, it was like a normal day, like any other working days, not knowing what lies beyond that date. You see, we arrived at the mine early in the morning as usual. We go for our PPEs to wear our clothes for ready to go on our various departments, you see. So me, I was working by then as a full-time health and safety representative, checking whether there is balance between, on a safety perspective, between the employees and the employer. So on that date, I was heading to conduct a safety meeting at a TMM workshop, it's a trackless mobile machinery workshop, as usual. Along the way, I met Yvonne, because apparently Yvonne, one of the still trapped till to date. Apparently Yvonne has been promoted to a senior landsman. She was not receiving, according to her, newly a promotion. So he said, Harry, we need your help as under the union, you see, to attend to that issue so that you'll get a relevant salary. I said, no, to Yvonne, I'm heading to a safety meeting. And then she said, you guys are not serving us properly, because my colleagues, apparently she told one of our colleagues he didn't attend to her issue. So I promised her that, no, I'm coming back. It's a 5 minutes meeting. So on my way back heading to where the container is, where Yvonne was waiting, to attend to Yvonne's crisis or complaints. Then I received a call that we must go to the sister mine, Barberton mine. The general manager is calling us in a safety meeting.
As the unions? As
the union, yes. So then I said, no, I cannot attend that meeting because I have to attend to Yvonne. So then it should have happened. I was maybe should have been talking to Yvonne. Fortunately or unfortunately, I survived because of that meeting. So even that meeting didn't happen, because while we were about to drive to the sister mine, we had a call again that no, something has happened, of which I've had a large bang of sound, but it's usually on mines you see to a sound, but that one was not familiar to me. But I wasn't aware that maybe the mine is collapsed. So minutes later, I hear people screaming, running towards where we were on our offices. Then we realized that no, something is not right. When we go back to that site where the sound is coming from, there was nothing one can see, just a dark cloud of smoke. Nobody knew what is it that is blasted or what happened until that smoke settles down. Then we see that a huge opening in the container other infrastructures were nowhere to be found.
Sure.
Just the open hole.
Sure. Yeah, that is quite scary to even witness. So normally after these kind of incidents, there's rescue efforts that happen. So how did the rescue efforts at that time, immediately after the incident, look like?
Yes, I believe on that angle, procedure was followed because in a couple of minutes, the helicopter emergency were there, ambulances were there, but there's nothing more that they can do. Yes, they did arrive trying to assist, but there's a huge opening. The mine is not accessible now underground. We don't know where the container is. It just disappears. Just a huge opening.
Sure.
So we have to sit down and strategize as to what's the next step that we can take. And by then, we're not aware that about the 76 who survived, because there were people underground. 76 of them.
Yeah, just talk to us about, I mean, we understand there was impact on surface where the container collapsed. But of course, there's people underground and there's potentially other things that could possibly have been happening at that time. So what happened to the people who were underground? How did they escape? How did we help them out? Just a scenario between what happened to the guys on surface and underground.
Yes, usually you see them, Yvonne and Solomon, they are the ones who used to wave us, must work safe, because they believe they are the safest, because they are on top, they are on surface, you see. But on the 5th of February 2016, them being on surface, they went underground.
Sure.
And the 76 who were underground, they came up safely out to surface, you see. Because those who were underground, there was no communication, because we relied on the lines, so there was no electricity, nothing at all. So fortunately, because there was that ventilation shaft that was used as the secondary escape route, so one manager went through the secondary escape route and to go underground and rescue the 76. Fortunately, no one was hurt because they were deep underground, because the impact was from surface up until level 4.
Sure.
So from level 4 till to level 13, there was no impact, so they were safe. Because, and it was fortunate on the 5th of February 2016, because after between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, most of the underground employees, they used to be sitting there at the link room. But on that day, they went underground earlier, fortunately.
Sure. So at what point did they come back to you employees and the teams around the mine that there is nothing they can do to take out the container? And who was consulted? Who came through to say it is not safe for us to take out the container or even access the mine at that point? How was the decision process around, recovering that container?
Yes, same date, like even the rescue teams from outside, you see, they've outsourced them. They came and strategized as to what is next. The lights of chain blocks were brought in so that they will transport. Remember, the design of the mine, they are using a trackless mobile. So there was no road there. And on the secondary escape road, it's a ladder formation, you see. So they have to access diesel and stuff and tools through the ventilation shaft, because there's no road there. So it was a difficult exercise by them. But they managed to work underground, because fortunately the machinery were there underground. See, they tried to load from level 4, because when they checked, there's no impact. The container did, which means the container didn't went past a level 4. It's between level 4 and surface, but not knowing where. You see.
What distance was it from surface to level 4?
Yes, the calculations are like it's less than 70 meters.
Sure. And we with all the efforts that were tried at the time, there was nothing that could be done.
Yes, they were trying, because the latest report was that there was some spare tires of the machinery were just the entry. So hope was revived by then that maybe we might see the container coming to land on level 4.
So weeks went, months went, and nothing came out. How did that make you feel as a community, as employees, and different stakeholders at the mine?
Yes, it's frustrating because government officials, they came, politicians, they came, made promises, including the recent one by the minister. So we're still waiting, people as law-abiding citizens, because remember, there was a time whereby, together with the families and some former employees, whereby we went underground to search for a container ourselves. Because we are having this conversation today, we're marking 1,866 days camping outside the mine, together with the families. Because 3 years later, the community members and some employees decided to go inside the mine to demand the governmental intervention. Unfortunately, till today, we haven't won a thing. There's no progress.
So, it's been 8 long, painful years for obviously employees and families. Let's just reflect on the judgment that was given in October 2023. The judge confirmed that the 3 miners have passed. Did that sort of give the family some kind of closure regarding what had happened to the family members, or there's still family members who still believe that the 3 miners are still alive?
Yes, it's a difficult part of that one, because even there in Bombela Court, it was difficult when Dr. Ganchev said that there's no human being that can survive under those circumstances for a quite long period of time. Remember, as African, again, there's some other Dr. Ganchevs or traditional doctors. They go there because they are because remember, they were looking for solutions. So the families, they receive whatever help they've been offered on their table. So the people, they used to come and say, no, they must do a certain ceremonies or initiations. These still missing people are alive. This time, if they can do this and that, they will come up alive. So it's a difficult one, especially to the families. Yes, and remember, it's 3 totally different families united in this same crisis of life, you see. So some, they believe they are still alive. Some, they take what like Dr. Ganchev, they're only looking for the remains to bury them in dignity.
Sure, but after the judgment that they had, there was so much hope that was given to the families. I mean, it was 2 important things came out. One, that a potential buyer can actually go through and recover the container and continue, to operate. And the other one was there were people that were now found guilty of the transgression regarding, what happened. So what has happened on the ground after that judgment from the court?
Yes, basically the judgment was to assist the families to assess even the bank accounts of the still missing people, and to give a NPA a go-ahead to prosecute. Because remember, on 2017, the Department of Mineral Resources conducted an inquiry whereby the findings were that the mine collapsed due to negligence of the mine management. They made recommendations that the CEO, the general manager, and the COO be prosecuted. Then NPA say we cannot prosecute unless if the families can agree that these people are normal. Then we can prosecute. So it provided that help on that regard, so that now those who need to be prosecuted be prosecuted. Because now, according to Dr. Ganchev's testimonies, so now death certificates are going to be issued. So we don't know, should they come alive, then it will be another story. But for now, it's a green light as far as prosecution is concerned. That is why I went to NPA headquarters to ask a progress report on that regard, because it's a revolving on the closure we've been anticipating for.
So even with you following up, nothing has happened, no mine has started, no recovery process has started, and no one has been prosecuted?
Yeah, the issue of Lily Mine, it's another story in the history of our country, because we had hope last year, 2023 October, when
Yeah.
the Constitutional Court said there's nothing wrong with all the previous judgment, and they gave us a way forward, of which we're relying on the business rescue processes.
Yeah.
That's the only way out. But after that, the Minister of Mineral Resources arrived and addressed us as the community, excluding the families,
Yeah.
that before end of July, the employees will be already being paid their outstanding, and the process of reopening the mine will be started.
When was this commitment made?
It's last month by the minister.
Sure.
Yes, on May.
So it's we're going to wait another month to see if that is going to materialize, I suppose.
Yes, we're waiting, because even last year on May Day, one of the Secretary General of ANC came and made promises that within 3 months the issue will be solved. So again, here's the minister. We're waiting. July is around the corner.
Yeah.
Because all we need is solution. Whether it's true or not, it's not for us.
Yeah.
But we're waiting for that. But it's questionable, because the business rescue practitioners, they say they are still waiting for money from some investors overseas. So that because the court judgment is clear that the way forward is for the business rescue practitioners to convene a creditors meeting and let the creditors decide on the future of the mine.
Well, so May 2024 marked 5 years of family members and employees camping outside Lily Mine. I remember when we spoke, you at the time were on site commemorating 5 years of camping. What was the purpose of camping? Who is there, and how is life there on a daily basis on the campsite?
Yes, nobody has ever planned camping there.
Yeah.
But because it was 3 years later, there was no communication from the mine management as to what's the progress report, where are we stuck. There's no communication from our union. There was no communication at all. But we, the suffering employees, we decided to come together. That's whereby the idea of going inside the mine came.
Yeah.
So we went inside the mine, not knowing that we were going to spend a days there. We thought maybe because remember, the following day was the Workers' Day. So the idea was that we are not going to be part of the National Workers' Day celebrations. So we're going inside the mine for our own Yvonne, Pretty and Solomon. But till now, the camp is still there without a solution.
How's life like there on a daily basis?
It's very much difficult, the camp, because especially on the side of our mothers, the mother of Pretty, Yvonne and Solomon, they are there.
Sure.
It's cold, it's in the bushes, it's not safe. The environment is not conducive, you see, and they are making ends meet for a living, because initially it was more easier because we had hope that soon we'll have a solution. So people were assisting some business people, but they cannot assist for that lot longer. Yeah.
Sure. The objective of camping there, do you think they were achieved, or there's progress with getting results? I mean, that particularly coming from the decision to camp on the mine site.
Yes, I think maybe there's a lot that we have achieved, even if it's not in our hands, it's not a material achievement, but we have achieved because now we've got an idea as to who's fooling who's causing all the delays. And again, we've met with some good people, including Herman Mashaba, because the idea was to silence the whole issue. The plan was that to come as employees, that we are going to offer them employment disguising as a new investor. So then it was going to be nobody's responsibility to retrieve the container or for the missing people to be found if the families were not there at the camp. That's why some of the stakeholders, they hate the camp so much, because it has been attacked several times.
Talking about the families, how are they holding up And I mean, just thinking of the children of the three miners, they are older now. How are they doing?
Yes, especially Pretty. She left behind a promise who was then during the time of the incident. She was 5 months old.
Sure.
Now she's asking questions. Where's my mother? Where's mommy? When is she coming back? And so forth. So that's another difficult part of it, because when it comes to Yvonne's mom, she said there's a point, because now 5 years is not a child's play, you see. But they say when they are home, they feel like they are betraying them.
Yeah.
So they feel far more better when they are there. They can close it their mind.
Sure.
Like they can see them coming back at some point.
Is there any compensation that has been given to the families, or by either by the mine, Vantage Mine Gold, or by the DMR? Is there any financial support, particularly because the three miners were declared that they're past? Any accountability and responsibility that the mine has taken regarding supporting the families, particularly because these were breadwinners?
No, from the side of the mine management, Vantage, there's nothing at all, even a single cent. Because remember, there was a time in 2021 whereby the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources visited the mine. As the families were invited, they were by the CEO of Vantage said the mine collapsed. It was an act of God. Sure. So the only compensation, if I remember, was the one when the then Minister Msebenzi arrived at the mine and promised that each family will be compensated with the 200,000 rand.
Yeah.
And those 76 who survived, each will be compensated with the 50,000 rand.
Sure.
So the families have confirmed that they did receive that 200,000 rand per family. Unfortunately, the 76 who survived, then that promise was not kept.
Sure. Look, mines add an economic value in the town that they exist in. I mean, the mine has now been closed for 8 years. How is the town like? What is happening to the employees of Lily Mine today?
Yes, not many of them, they are in some other mines, maybe less than 10% of them. So the community there, it's a Lowville, it's a very rural community. We're relying on the mines. So the community itself has collapsed. So there's so many, the crime rate has went up because people now, they are stealing, especially livestock, you see. There's no life in that community. And remember, there was no beneficiation. There's nothing that the mine has left. The mine was only offering the community only employment. That's it. So it's difficult.
Illegal mining was cited as one of the reasons that contributed or caused the collapse of Lily Mine. Is the illegal mining still continuing at the mine? What's happening on the mine site?
Yes, I can say the mine is not closed. The mine is operating now illegally after the mine collapsed. But when the mine was in operation, I've never ever seen any evidence or a lead that there's illegal mining going on. Because fortunately, I was working all over the mine, be it your plants, underground, both mines. I was going all over as a safety representative. I've never seen maybe a signal, any signal of illegal mining. But it's for the management to present the courts that made the illegal miners were mining under the ground pillar that collapsed. So I haven't got knowledge of any illegal miners while I was working at the very same mine in question.
Do you then believe that there was illegal mining that caused this?
Not at all.
Sure.
I was working at the very same mine, but I've never seen a sign, or there was no safety meeting that we need to check. It looks like we're having a challenge of illegal mining. I've only heard it being presented in court by the mine management.
Sure. What's your concerns with the reopening of the mine? Because I know that's the conversation that's going on. But what would satisfy you as employees and as a community that the mine is safe to reopen? Because, I mean, besides the illegal mining, there's also structural and rock engineering concerns that are involved. Are you guys comfortable with the process to open?
Yes, we are. Even the community has been briefed by the investing company.
Sure.
Because remember, we need to go back and check what caused the mine to collapse. It's indeed, as per the outcomes of the DMRE inquest, the mine collapsed due to negligence. Because apparently one of the rock engineers advised the mine, the communication is there, official communication, that the mine management must consider shifting the entrance of the mine because it was meant temporarily so that they'll raise money and create a sustainable road that goes underground. So the recommendation was there. That plan still remains to shift the entrance that goes straight to the underground where it is. So the community and the employees, they are comfortable with the new plan because they know that somebody made a mistake. That's why we are in this mess.
Sure. Dr. Harry, as someone who has been part of this journey from the minute it happened, how has this impacted you personally? How are you?
Yeah, I don't think I should have been here even by now. But because of along the process, the relationship between me and the families, that's why some of my colleagues, they left, they are somewhere else, but me, I got stuck. Because the families, they are telling me every day, we're praying together. They say, no, if I can leave them, they don't know where else they can turn to. So I'm stuck with them. So I'm part of them. We are a family together. Still hopeful that one day we will find a solution and closure. You see, it's like, even for me personally, according to my belief, I cannot leave them at this point in time.
When you speak to the families, trying to encourage them, what do you say to them?
Yes, like yesterday, you see, it was tense because we were busy with some other political commitments. It's for the past 2 weeks I wasn't being with them. So yesterday I was with them almost the whole day. So we used to relate to the Bible. You see, the Bible plays a very crucial roles in our lives because what can you say? We've been trusting our government without any help for 8 years. We've been trusting our unions. There's nothing that has assisted us with. Everybody, you see, it's better to relate to the Bible that you see the way times like Job in the Bible was facing difficulties, but because he hanging from his faith, last what he has lost,
he regained double.
He regained everything.
Sure. If you could send a message to mining companies and industry leaders, what would you say to them?
I can simply say that each and every time, each and every minute of the operation, we must consider safety. Safety must be a priority, day and night, every second. Safety must be a priority, irrespective of physically, so irrespective of whether there's a communication that is warning, you mustn't take it for granted because that can cause a big trouble.
Dr. Harry, thank you so much for coming through and sharing the light on this incident that really bothers us as a country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. Let's hope we'll find a solution soon.
While nothing can undo this heartbreak, we celebrate and honor the lives of Solomon, Yvonne, and Preeti. May this story continue to be shared as we build an industry with zero fatalities. Thanks for watching. Goodbye and God bless.